Time to get some new Rave Spirits for synthesis.
7K Dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at Mythical Awakened Rosie's dungeon. She is a 7.5, so she's incredibly strong. For her passive, she decreases physical damage taken by 50%, increases her own magic attack, and also decreases crit and counter rate of universal type enemies by 50%, which means she will nerf Aragon, Ares, and 6 counter. And that means you cannot cool down Velika fast enough. And we're using Velika because she decreases physical damage. I believe you may be still able to use Shane because the dungeon usually they don't have too high defenses and HP. Here she destroys weapon as well, so that's something you want to clear. That debuff is something you want to clear. And she also decreases buff duration. She also decreases status effect resist rate and also heals. Okay. For her Awakened skill, she has Poison and Stun, so make sure you have these two debuffs, resistances on Velika and your counter hero. For my case, I'm actually going to try Feng Yan because Feng Yan is the only other hero that is not universal and has a cooldown ability on his basic attack. So we'll just try him out and see how it goes. You may not even need to use him. So first things first is to cast Phoenix, okay? After Phoenix, just remember to buff with Velika. I actually used Fenrir's top skill here. I think you can actually go with Livestreamer Scoot's bottom skill instead, and that will be good enough as well. You do not need to use Fenrir's top skill. However, if you do not have Livestreamer Scoot, you can use Lina instead. Lina to buff the crit rate for Velika. However, later I will talk about Velika's equipment and actually whether you do need to actively use Lina's buff in the first place. You may not need to, by the way. So Fenrir is going to increase crit damage and lethal damage. So this will increase Velika's output a lot. Over here my Feng Yan dies because he does not have a Willful Ring. He only has a counter accessory, which I'll talk about later. If you want Feng Yan to continue living, you can use a Willful Ring on him. Of course, he will be able to tank 2 attacks from Rosie.
Okay.
Over here, Velika does a lot of damage and already halves Rosie's health. And with a basic attack from Rosie, she is able to get her Awakened skill ready. Definitely a kill here. Okay, so it's very fast, very doable, not too complicated like the previous 7 Knights of Old. Okay, and with that you will be getting Rave Spirits, which is a sub-currency which you will need to then synthesize for purified spirits in the synthesis, which I'll talk about later. We'll look at hero equipment first. For my Velika, I'm using double crit and HP and standard jewels for Velika. As you can see, I have a crit accessory as well. So why is so much focus on crit and not crit lethal or lethal itself? Because lethal is given by Fenrir 50%. I also have a guild buff of 30%. So that's 80% lethal rate from my support. I have a lethal rate increase trait, so that gives her 20% base. Okay, so that is 100% lethal, and then with all the other crit weapons and crit guild buffs, you can get 100% crit as well. For Fenrir, I'm using a PvP setup, so don't mind it. For Rachel, I'm using a block setup here. You can use HP, of course. This is just something that you've seen it many times. I tried Sig. Okay, double counter, very high counter, but he still gets reduced by 50% of counter due to Rosie's passive. So, which is why I was thinking of actually going with Feng Yan. But as you can see in the video previously, you don't actually need Feng Yan because Feng Yan does not really value add too much. His reduction in cooldown doesn't affect Velika too much because you probably only need to cast each Velika skill once. Okay. So over here I actually went through the effort of giving him appropriate traits, resistances and gear so that he can be used and tried in this dungeon, but I don't think you really need him. In fact, you can use Sylvia instead, or if you really want to use a counter hero, you can just use Sig to reset the Velika's Awakened skill, especially if your equipment is not good enough. For Livestreamer skill here is really a defensive build. You can use Lina instead, as I mentioned. For the synthesis event, you will be using the Rave Spirits and synthesizing for purified spirits, so you need 3. and the event lasts for 21 days, so you can get 7 purified spirits just from this. And then with that and the check-ins, free purified spirits, you can synthesize for 5 and 3 new accessories, basically increasing status effect resist rate and also decreasing physical and magic damage received respectively. So I think, as I mentioned in the update notice video, I think these are pretty interesting to have. And don't forget to register for the 5th anniversary. You will get a 7 out of 0 ticket. Now this is a 10+1 gacha draw ticket. It's not a guaranteed ticket, okay? So please take note of that, and don't go in with the understanding that you will be drawing a 7 out of 0. And with that, I've come to the end of this video. Do let me know what you think of the dungeon this time round, and stay tuned for more, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and see you!